Hi, everybody. This is Lori from glp1 Journey in Review. Today, we're going to be talking about going on vacation while you're on a medication. Have you been considering going on vacation? What are you going to do? You're going to not take your medication and concentrate more on eating? Are you going to take a lower dose so that you could eat a little bit more? Or are you just going to do the routine and take your medication as normal and just see how it goes. I know I've been on vacation before a couple times. One time I lowered my medication and I wish that I didn't because it was too long of a vacation and I was overdoing it. It was a 10-day vacation. I did bring some medication with me. Uh, and I took it the day before I went away. I took a lower dose, and then I decided, even though I brought the medication with me, I was going to go ahead and wait till I got home or the morning I was leaving because I had been overeating. And as it was, I was kind of going to bed with a really full feeling, and I didn't want it just to be sitting there. Now, I know that had I taken the proper amount and not done it a day early, my first day, probably would have eaten very little. I was gonna have a couple of little treats, I wasn't gonna lie, and then, like, see how it goes. One of my considerations this time is I take 7.5, maybe I'll take 5, uh, when I leave, and then I'll take 2.5 midweek, seeing how it goes. I don't know, that I never really did split dose. Well, I have done split dose before, but only, like, once, and, it really didn't do too much for me because I preferred getting the whole amount. So I don't really think I'm gonna do that. Plus, I'm going away the day before my shot day. I'm leaving on a Friday, and my shot day is Saturday. I'm thinking maybe I'll take it Friday, bring it along with me, and take it again the following Friday, because then I go home on the Sunday. And at least for the first few days, I probably won't eat as much. Well, I know I won't eat as much because I'll have taken my medication. I'm still gonna have my ice cream a couple times a week, just smaller portions like I did before. So I just absolutely can't decide. I'm always in this dilemma when I go away. So if any of you are going away, I'd like you to put down in the comments what you would do. Again, personally, I think I'm gonna take it on the Friday that I leave. Uh, and I don't know, maybe I'll go somewhere between 5 and 7.5 because I'm on compound, so I can kinda do that, and I'll just have to see how that goes. Uh, Usually the first day that I get there, we don't do too much anyhow. We go to the grocery store, get some stuff because it's a timeshare, so it has a full kitchen. So, I could go ahead and have a very light dinner, and the next day we do go out to dinner usually. Uh, Again, I probably still could on the medication, but I'll eat a lot less, so I'll have to remember that when I'm ordering, and I'll probably say by, like, Wednesday, I'll be able to eat, uh, not a super lot, but a little bit more normal of an amount, and I'll have to realize that when I do go away I'm sorry, when I do go out to dinner, probably lunch the next day, which isn't a bad thing. I kinda like that. I've tried splitting some stuff, with my wife now. I know her and I, we eat the same thing every day. When it comes to going out to dinner, we want totally different things. So usually that doesn't work. I don't know why that is, but that always seems to happen that way. So again, let me know in the comments. I know most of you watch this on the replay. I have 5 of you here right now. Comment what you do when you're going away on vacation. Now, as far as breakfast, I still have my protein shake because I'm really not a breakfast person. Uh, Lunch, That's it. We usually go out to dinner one time. We either go for a late lunch, like 3 o'clock, and then have a light dinner at home, or we'll go ahead and eat lunch and have dinner out. Uh, Hopefully, I'm not going to do that every night this time because although I really like not having to cook and I do enjoy going out to dinner and that type of stuff, one, it gets very expensive, and I do tend to eat a little bit more when I do go to the restaurants just because you have your salad with it, the rolls, and I could skip the rolls. Sometimes I skip the rolls. Sometimes I have a half a roll, which I normally wouldn't do if I was eating at home. Then I'll have, some of my main course. Sometimes because I ate the roll and the salad, I won't have as much vegetables. So what I take home is different. So I think I'm gonna do things different this time. I think we're gonna do is eat more dinners at home and have a big lunch, or we'll have a uh, brunch, so to speak, and have an early dinner. So, that's an option too. Uh, Hey there, traveling Tia. Good afternoon. We recently stayed at a timeshare. Thanks for the tips. The meal for one at Publix is great protein option, and that's usually one of the first stops we do is go to Publix because we're going to an island, and that is like the only grocery store on the island. Otherwise, we have to leave the island, which really isn't a big deal. It's just crossing a bridge. And so, hi, Amy. You stop craving bread and don't even keep it in an apartment. We don't keep bread here either. I'll very rarely once in a while, I'll have some bread with a burger, and I try to buy the high fiber, multi-grain breads, but again, that's not very often. But there's something about when you go to a restaurant and they bring that hot bread and those hot rolls, with the pads of butter on it. I try to resist, and most of the time I can, but just sometimes I can't. And that's what happens when I go to the restaurants. So I think, like I said, this year we'll do it a little bit different. I think we'll do lunch. Uh, and for me, it's easier at lunch, like, to order, like a steak as opposed to a burger where I don't even have to think about the bread or the french fries. So, if I have a steak and either sweet potato or even a baked potato with a vegetable, that's fine. I probably won't eat the whole thing, but then I won't be very hungry later on. We'll do whatever we want to do, maybe go to the movies, come home, and maybe I'll just make some eggs or something like that for dinner, eggs and sauce, something light, or just have a salad because, like I said, we'll have gone to Publix, so I'll have bought all the stuff for salads and stuff like that. Maybe some shrimp to throw in it. I know, Amy, you're allergic to shrimp, so you don't do that, but some sort of protein that I'm going to put, into the salad and do it that way because also then I won't go to bed with such a full feeling. Again, still a toss up whether I'm going to take my normal 7.5 or if I'm going to break it up. I know I'm not going to skip it, that's for sure. Uh, Go away on Friday, shot day is Saturday. I'm pretty sure I'm going to take that shot Friday so that, we get there at like 4 or 5 o'clock. We'll just unpack, go to Publix, get us something from Publix for dinner, along with some stuff for some either lunches or like dinners. Uh, we've lately become very big at breakfast foods for dinner. So on those days that we go out to lunch, I think, having a breakfast thing would be really nice. Uh, it's again, I'm always so torn when it comes to vacation. Now, the other two times we went away, one was only for 3 days and one was for 4 days. So a little bit different because it's short. And we went away on the last time on a Sunday, shot day being Saturday. We got there late on Sunday, and we tend to stay either in a suite or a place that has a kitchen. And the suite actually had a a semi-full kitchen. I mean, it had a stove top. It didn't have a stove, which is fine because I really wasn't planning on cooking anything. We actually, picked up some food from Publix. Picked up, we were having a friend come visit us. Picked up some, little sandwiches that they had there because she always comes and she's hungry. And I knew that we were going to go out to dinner because we were out celebrating our friend and Carol's birthday because they were within a week or two of each other. And Hey Pam, can't believe you caught a live too. I want to do a live with you. So, if you're interested or if you want to come on up, that would be really great. I'm going to put the link in here just in case you decide that maybe you want to do that. We're talking about vacations and what to do with shot days on vacations and shot doses and so forth. So anybody who feels like coming up, I just put the link in the chat and you can. So when we were away for a couple of days and it was just one meal, it wasn't a big deal because they don't have a lot of restaurants that I know of where they were going that I would really overindulge, and plus I know that the friend that we eat with that we met there eats dinner at like 4:35 o'clock, so it's still pretty early. To me, that's almost like a late lunch. And there's actually where we went to in Vero Beach, there's very few restaurants that open up before 5 o'clock. So we're limited. So I already pretty much knew where we were gonna go. I knew pretty much knew what I was gonna eat. Let's see what Amy has to say. When I was on vacation recently, I took a vacation from my diet too. I it had been 9 months of 99% consistency, and I just needed time away from it. And I totally understand that, and that's great. Um, so I don't know what everybody else does, but I'm always really torn. Hi, Keely. Thanks for joining us. Uh, and I think I have my mind made up. And then I wake up the next day and go, do I really want to do that? Is that how I want to handle this? And I know there's a lot of people that just take the darn shot, take the whole dose, and do as it is. I really shouldn't be concentrating on eating. And let me tell you, when we used to go away, before, it was a lot easier because, like I said, we get there the first day, I don't really care because 'cause we're unpacking, we're going grocery shopping, and, the day or 2 after that, we used to do things like go to the movies and stuff like that, and right now there's only, like, 2 movies that I wanna see, and we'll probably see them before we go away, so, you know, there's not a lot of movies out there, so I don't know, maybe we'll chill out at a mall or something like that. I think if I take the whole dose or very close to the whole dose, I'll be okay because we could probably think of things to do. And then I'm gonna probably change my mind again. One, it's gonna depend on the weather because it's very easy because 'cause we're staying at the beach. It's super easy just to go to the beach, chill, hang out, and all that kind of stuff, and just not even think about food, just, relax. I plan on doing a live from the beach, weather permitting, because there's pretty decent Wi-Fi by the beach. And that, to me, that sounds like it would be something pretty cool. Hopefully, it won't be too windy and I'll actually be able to do that, although I do have some noise canceling portable microphones, so I'm pretty sure I'll be able to sneak a live in from the beach. If not, it'll be on my balcony, which is, I don't know, maybe 200, 300 feet from the beach. So we'll have to see. Uh, but there's a difference between sitting in your balcony watching the beach and actually sitting on the beach. So all that too depends on weather, what we're going to do, how I'm going to handle all this. Uh, Let's see, what did Pam have to say? I'm working right now, so I can't join you, but I did email me, so we'll get one on the schedule. That's great. I love Pam. I think she's so entertaining. She's such a good content creator. Perfectly Pamela is her site. If you haven't gone over there, please go over there and check out her site. It's great. She's got some really good videos. and it'll be an honor for me to do a live with her. Hi, Tammy. How you doing? Nice of you to join us. We're talking about what to do about your shot and everything when you go on vacation. I'm always torn, and I probably change my mind 50 times before the actual day that I'm gonna do my shot. So, and I usually don't change my mind that often. I'm really not that kind of person, but with this, I'm just so torn because, I mean, let's face it, a lot of society and a lot of social things are around food. They probably shouldn't be, but they are. So, um that's just the way it is. I can't undo that. And again, we're on an island. All there is really to do on the particular island is either eat. There's a couple of little souvenir stores, my favorite surf shops there. Uh, Go to the beach and swim. Otherwise, you have to leave the beach to do things, which isn't too bad. It's only like a 25-minute drive, and they have a mall and some theaters. Uh, it is somewhat limited. Uh, we may go to see there's a place, that the manatees like to hang out in, so we might go see that. Again, it depends on the weather. It's gonna be the first week of November, so usually we get our first cold spell right about then, but the last few times that we've gone up there, it's been like 92, so, uh the manatees, they're out doing their thing instead of hanging out in these things. Hey Shay, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. I appreciate everybody that's come here. I have like 17 people here right now. Uh, Again, put in the comments what you guys would do on vacation or if you're planning on vacation. Now, as far as traveling, I have a soft case to put my medication in with some ice things. I have a hard shell case if I'm going to pack it. Uh, Again, I usually put it in like our carry-on bag, which we're driving there, so it doesn't really matter. Sometimes I'll even bring a little cooler if we're going to bring a little, food with us. Uh, Again, like I said, there's a Publix right there, so we kind of stopped bringing food because dragging it for 2.5 hours one way and actually it's about 2 hours one way, and then leftovers. Whatever's left over, I usually just toss. I try not to be wasteful. Shay wants to know how long will I be gone. This is, I think, a Friday we leave and we come back the following Sunday. So what is that? 10, 11 days. Um, so, it's a decent amount of time, and I won't be too shocked if we take a little side trip up to Orlando or something like that, because it's only like 40 minutes from Orlando. And there's some things we wanted to do there. Again, that'll take a day. Usually don't do the parks, especially if we're just going to go for the day. But they've got a lot of other interesting stuff there to do. So I wouldn't be surprised to do that. I know I'm gonna meet my brother lives, about 25 minutes. We're gonna meet him for dinner one night, so that is one night I will have to go to dinner. I let him pick the place, so I don't know what kind of food. Uh, Both him and I, when we go out to dinner, we tend to like seafood and not just like shrimps or scallops. Not that we don't like shrimps or scallops, but the snapper, the mahi, the tuna, flounder, grouper, that type of thing, because I make that kind of fish all the time, but he doesn't. Let's see what Pam has to say. When I went on vacation, I took my injection as normal and tried to do my best to eat healthy while still allowing myself some grace. But I wasn't gone long, so I didn't need to bring any shots with me. Uh, right now, that's what I'm leaning on doing, although I am going to change my day from Saturday to Friday only because I don't know. I just one do prefer taking it at home, and uh, like I said, I get up there Friday, I unpack, we go grocery shopping, the day is pretty much all gone. And then I'm tired. I don't really want to go out to dinner or anything like that. So usually we'll get something from Publix, and I'll either make something quick, or sometimes we'll split a sub. That's if we're going to bother with the bread. They have some really nice salads already made up. They also have like some salmon, although their salmon tends to be a little bit dry, already cooked. Or sometimes they have it ready to cook that you just pop it in the oven. We may do something like that. So that's why I'm thinking of changing that to Friday. And I'll bring it with us. Uh, Probably we'll go back to Saturday, uh, even though that's our last night. It depends because, like I said, we're going to have some people come see us there. If they want to go out Saturday, I might keep it on Friday or change it back to Sunday. Haven't decided on that part of it yet, but I am bringing it with, just in case, because we don't know what we're doing. We share meals, bring some groceries, look for Groupon, search menus before leaving home. I take injection before I leave home, or take a cooler. Like I said, I've got plenty of little things that I got on Amazon to keep in. I have a hard shell, a soft shell. They have little icings that you put, and they're not even in the same layer as the medication, so there's no chance that they're accidentally going to freeze. I've also got those little blue tins that you get from Mochi. The only thing I don't like about that is those little icings can't touch the shot, and I've never really had it freeze, but I'm always worried, is it going to freeze? So I went ahead and I bought the first one I got was a soft shell. And I'm like, oh, this is really good and stuff like that. Then I figured, depending on what we have packed in our little small carry-on piece, maybe I should get a hard shell. So I got a hard shell one, just because I didn't want anything breaking. Now, uh, my wife takes Monjero and I take Compound. There is room for both of them if I take the Monjero out of the container and just put it in there. Or sometimes on weeks like that, both of us will just use Compound. So I'll just bring up, one vial, some syringes. I'll bring an extra syringe or two just because you never know, you might accidentally drop one. You might accidentally bend the needle on one and so forth. Uh, I love Publix. I miss having one nearby. Me too. I really like Publix. But when I lived in Chicago, we had a couple chains. I don't know if they still exist. One was Jewel, one was Dominic's, and I prefer Dominic's. But hey, they were both fine. The only thing that I don't really do is go to like BJ's or anything like that because we're only gone for like 10, 11 days. I don't eat anything in bulk. Uh, and I try to stay away from foods that will need like ketchup, things like that, because I don't want to buy a whole thing of ketchup just for a couple days. And again, I don't want to be dragging food back and forth. This is from Traveling Tea again. Check out the meals in the cold section, about $7.99. It's a protein and a vegetable. The protein options are chicken, salmon, and tilapia, cook in oven or air fryer. And I have had those, and a lot of times we do have the salmon like that. I haven't tried the tilapia, only because tilapia really isn't my favorite fish. It's not bad, but it really doesn't have a lot of taste, so you really have to season it with something that you like, because that's the taste that it happens to have. And yes, that is a good price, and that is usually what we do for our first night, and sometimes for another night. They don't have an air fryer there. Sometimes I have a small air fryer that occasionally I'll bring with us, but I do bring a little blender, my little portable Ninja blender, because I do have my smoothies all the time. Um, so it depends on how much I want to drag up there. Plus, the air fryer is small. It'll fit maybe two small pieces of salmon, but if I get other fish, like a piece of snapper, I'd have to cook them separately, or even a piece of mahi, I'd probably have to cook them separately. So that's kind of a little bit of a pain in the ass. And, I want to cook less, not cook more. Although they do have, a broiler and a full oven and stuff like that. But I try to make the dinners easy. I usually just I bring my because I have a really good saute pan where you don't even need oil. Le Creuset makes it. Sometimes I bring that. Like I said, it all depends on how much we have to bring up because I'm the one that has to drag everything to the car. I'm the one that has to drag everything, up. Yes, they do have a luggage dolly, but we don't have one here because my wife has COPD and she really can't do that. Plus, like I have to bring my computer stuff with me. She has to bring her computer stuff and her little portable printer because she's got to do her payroll and a little bit of work while she's there because they just don't seem to be able to exist 10 days without her. Uh, Besides, she's one of the only people that really knows how to do payroll, and the employees do want to get paid. So, you know, we have to drag that. Now, her printer is, I don't know if I have anything the size here, but it's probably like yo big. It's a little portable, it holds like 3, 4 sheets of paper. You almost have to put each piece of paper in individually, but I do think it holds 3 or 4. And it's an inkjet. It's a little slow, but she has to print up some stuff for payroll, and uh, it's also, I think, a little scanner, so she could, scan it and send it to the payroll people. Uh, Jewel brings back memories. I'm from Chicago, been in Florida for over 30 years. Yeah, it does bring back some memories, but for some reason I prefer Dominic's. I don't know why. I think I like the deli better than Jewel, although I don't know. Uh, I think the meats were a little bit better at Dominic's, but like I said, I don't even know if they exist anymore. But as I got older and a little bit wiser, and still to this day, I usually don't buy a lot of meat from the grocery store. I'll go to a butcher or we have a farmer's market by us that has a huge meat and fresh fish department. So I tend to buy it there, and sometimes it costs a little bit more, but I think the quality is just so much better that, if I'm going to eat this stuff and pay this, I'll tell you an example. I didn't want to go to the um, farmer's market that has the little butcher shop in it. So I got lazy and I got steaks from Publix, and I ended up paying for the 2 steaks. They were small, like 25.99, which if I would have got them at the butcher, probably would have been like 30, 31. And they were very tasty, but they were a little tough. That would not have happened if I bought them at the butcher shop. So for just a couple bucks more, I personally think it's worth it. Now, my ground beef and stuff like that, ground turkey, certain things like that, I will buy them at the regular grocery store. As a matter of fact, tonight we're making ground turkey chili, and I did buy everything from Publix as opposed to going to the butcher for the ground turkey. So, you know, kind of keep up here. Oh my goodness, I'm lucky my HR person is trained as my payroll backup. uh, my wife only works part-time, and like little back history, 2020, she had a really bad COPD attack, and she was actually in a drug-induced coma for 9 days for her lungs to heal. And, that medication did a little bit of a number on her brain, and she's probably like 90% better, but just doesn't want to work full time. She didn't even know if for a while, for about 6 months, her brain wasn't even clear enough to work. So she doesn't want to work full time. She doesn't want to really not work because otherwise she'd just be sitting around all day. And, that's kind of the way I feel. I'm going to keep working, reevaluate things in a couple of years, maybe work part time. And one of the reasons why I started this YouTube channel and my other YouTube channel is because as I start working a little bit less and less, I need something to do. I'm just not the sit around type of person. I could do that for a day or two, and then I'm bored as hell, and I just don't know what to do with myself. So, hopefully YouTube will fill in that gap for me, and I'll be able to do some stuff, from home, or like take my laptop outside and do it outside because we have beautiful weather all year round usually here. So, that, that's that. So they really struggled, and they basically had to hire a temp when she was in her coma until she got better, and then, like, as she started, she goes, "Okay, that's all I'm gonna do is payroll," and slowly she's been doing just a little bit more, and, she only works about 15 to 20 hours, a week, and for, like, the last year and a half, she's been telling him, "Please replace me. Please find a replacement because I don't want to do this too much longer." And they just seem to be stalling on doing that, which I don't think is a bad thing because I think she needs to do something for at least 2 to 3 hours a day, or literally she'll just be sitting there reading all day, and that's it. And, I think if you don't use your brain, you're going to lose it. And I know reading does take some brain work, but I think engaging with other people is also important, and that's just the way that I am. Uh, let's see. If you have time in Orlando, check out the Orange County Regional History Center. They have a really good section on the history of Disney. That's a good idea. I never thought of that. I know my wife is dying to go to the chocolate museum, which I don't understand why, because to me it's more just like sampling some chocolates and stuff like that. I don't know how much, and the place has been around for years, so I guess so, and it's not super expensive. Uh, for some reason, we've just kind of been putting that off, finding other things to do. So I told her, "Hey, maybe while we're up there, we'll go over there." Again, looking forward to possibly, the manatee. We've been there, and they have this, it's like a little school thing where they teach you, and they have some films about manatees, and then across the street there's an area where they like to hang out, especially if it's cold outside, and usually there's a couple there. There's actually a better observation place about 4 miles away, that you could go. It's a little bit closer to the nuclear plant that's up in Fort Pierce there, because I guess manatees like that. But like I said, the last few years that we've gone, it's usually pretty chilly the first week in November, but lately it's still been in the 90s. So the manatees aren't going to want to hang out around there when it's that warm out there. So there's also, it's about a 35-40 minute drive from there, a turtle rescue place that I've been wanting to see. So again, depending on weather and things like that, I'd love to do that. Um, I hear Blue Springs is a place to go for manatees. I don't know where that is, but I'll look that up. There's also, places. In Fort Lauderdale that I've seen them hang out in. I've actually got webcams hooked up to the manatee places. You could look online for those. Again, it's got to be a little bit cooler for them to really hang out in that area. Plus, the time changes then, so like it gets dark earlier, so you gotta kinda go at, like, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and like I said, if she's working that day, sometimes we don't even get going till, like, 3:30 'cause, she's gotta put an hour or 2 of work, and she doesn't really like to work early, so, uh we'll have to see. Now that they have a couple of museums there. We've been to them many times. They have a refugee. I forgot the name of it, but years ago, when people were just migrating to the Treasure Coast there, that was a house of refuge, and they still actually have that, and they've turned it into a museum, and they have some little films that you could watch about it, and little plaques and things you could read. But we've done that, 6, 7 times already. Uh, same thing. I forget the name of the other museum, and they have this huge collection of old cars and stuff like that, and they're stacked up. I think like five high and five thing, and they have this little conveyor belt. Like if you want to see like the old fashioned ambulance, and it's in five three over, it goes over there, picks it up, brings it down, spins it around, on the little showcase, puts it back up, which is kind of cool. But then again, I've done that. You know, there's always shopping. I love shopping, and some of our favorite stores are up that way. So that's another thing that we'll be doing. Uh, Again, hoping it's really good weather because I just enjoy just chilling at the beach. I could watch that ocean for hours and hours and never get bored. That's, one of the things that I love about that. Sometimes I bring my crocheting and I'll crochet watching the ocean on the balcony. Won't really bring it to the beach because it gets too sandy and stuff like that. But like I said, I do plan on doing a live from that beach, and it's a very small beach, but it's really only the timeshares. There's a hotel there. There's a mansion down the road, but they're never there. It's a billionaire. He built a castle, and if you look up castle in Hutchinson Island, you could see it, and it's like it's kind of amazing. Not my style on the inside because they have this tremendous display of Christmas lights that they do, and they open up usually like the second week in December, which I've already got reservations to go see again. And they actually open up the grounds, the gates for charity. So you give them a small donation, and they have. Uh, like violin players and things like that are collecting for charities, and people donate, and it's kind of cool, and we like to do that. We do this like not every year, but like once every 2 to 3 years because it gets a little old seeing some of it, but they do change it up, and because they have now started opening the gates and letting people actually in, to the property itself, not into the house, but everybody's against the glass looking in and stuff like that, and it's personally not my taste, but it seems like it's done pretty well. Um, Look that up if you get a chance on YouTube, and you'll see that what a display, and how huge this is for just two people that maybe are there maybe 1 week of the year, some years, and they actually start right around when we're up there, right around Halloween. They start the decorations for the second week of December. That's just how many lights and decorations that they have to put up. Um, they don't do it; they hire people to do it. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Um, like I said, we also have some friends that live out that way, and a friend from Vero Beach. She usually comes down for a day or two because it's kind of like the halfway point for her. Um, but that doesn't have anything to do with GLP-1. That's just me babbling on because a little bit of ADD. One thing I did wanted to mention, it has now officially been 3 weeks and I've been on NAD plus. So far, I'm finding it helpful. I'm nowhere near as tired, a little bit less brain fog. Is it helping my ADD? I still kind of feel myself drifting in thoughts, but I remember right away what I was thinking about. So that is a plus. And it's only been a few weeks. I'm going to give it 3 months and then I'll kind of do a review on it and tell you what I think. It is a little bit pricey. It's, an extra. Now, here's the thing. I think it's like about 110 to $139, depending on where you get it from. And uh, the dose that they tell you to take, I've talked to, well, one provider didn't really give me much guidance at all. Another provider did, and he's like, just take half of it and see how it is. So they have me taking it 2 to 3 times a week. So first I started taking it 2 times a week. I'm up to three, but I only take half of that dose. So if they put 3 doses in, it's going to last me like 2.5 months. So when you look at it that way, it's not quite so much. Um, again, he's like, if you find it not working, we can increase the strength of it. So I don't know if I'll go that route. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see what Amy has to say here. Uh, I always have to rein my ADD brain when I'm chatting. Yep, me too. Again, like I said, I tend to go off course and then I totally forget what I was talking about. At least now I go off course, but I remember what I was talking about. So for me, that's a plus. Uh, and I'm not as tired as I was. Uh, and I was a little bit worried about that because yesterday and today were basically my first days back at the gym in like almost a month because I had I fractured my foot about a year ago and it's been bothering me. So like I figured let me take a month off of it, of going to the gym because I think that some of the um, exercises that I do and some of the things, even if they're not for the foot, just the way that the machine hits it, it bothers it. So I just said I'm gonna take a month off doing that. Now I did go do a little bit of rowing machine like twice, and it bothered it just a little bit, so I kinda put off on that, so I've just been walking basically for, like, the last month, making sure that I get my 10,000 steps in. If I haven't, I'll go out, take a walk, I'll take a walk at work, again, depending on the weather. So hey, Jazzy, thanks for joining us. Uh, believe it or not, we were talking about medication on vacation, but I got sidetracked and started talking about ADD and restaurants and shit like that. So sorry. Um, but welcome. Let's get back to medication. Uh, First little thing on the NAD plus, it's not some people say it helps with weight loss. That's not what I'm taking it for because I'm at maintenance, so I don't really know about that. Uh, they say sometimes it helps with longevity. I don't know about that. I'm taking it for, keep my brain a little bit clearer and a little bit for the energy. So, like I said, first day back at the gym. So I was worried the last few weeks that I was going to be really tired from not going to the gym. So I'm kind of glad that I'm back at the gym. I did about three-quarters of what I usually do on my workout. I figure next week I'll get back into the whole thing and back to my 3 to 4 days a week. So I just did it twice this week. So far, my foot's been good. Now back to the medication and vacation. So again, beginning of it, the first day or two, not really a problem. I think by day 2 or 3, I'm going to be a little bit antsy and want to go out to dinner or lunch because one of the things that I do all the cooking at home, so I kind of look forward to vacation not having to cook. So it's going to be stuff that's easy. I found a new place by there that has fresh fish. It's actually a restaurant, and I never knew that they, along the side of the restaurant, that they have a little store that they sell it. So that'll be nice because other than the salmon, I don't like to fish too much at Publix. Uh, Scallops and shrimp, they're fine, but, as far as, like, snapper, you know, they don't have a huge choice. It's either tilapia, or catfish. Both aren't my favorites, but, the salmon there is okay, but they have a lot of, farm-raised salmon, and I prefer wild salmon. I hear it's better for you. There is a fresh market if I wanna go into town that has some okay seafood. Uh, but again, I'm gonna kinda look, like you said, they have these, pieces of salmon and vegetable that you just pop into the oven, try to make it a little bit easier for me. I wanna kinda stay away from, the frozen fish or frozen foods because I know they have a lot of additives and preservatives. Plus, I'm not bringing spices and stuff with me if it's not just basically, they usually sometimes they have salt and pepper in the rooms. If not, grocery store has the disposable ones for like, $2. I'm okay with that, but I don't want to have to start buying garlic, this, paprika, that. It's not worth it. Which is one reason why we go out to dinner a lot because I don't want to bother with the spices. So I'm gonna look at what they have ready. Also, Fresh Market has a huge, um, almost ready stuff. Plus, they have a pretty decent deli type of thing. I do try to stay away a little bit from deli meats because they have a lot of salt in them and they are somewhat processed. They said boar's head aren't so bad, but I don't know if I believe that. Always been told to kind of stay away from that. They Fresh Market does have organic, sliced, um, deli meats, so I might do that. Maybe buy some, keto style bread or something like that, and, have a sandwich, something pretty light. Um, Omelets are good. I like to do that. Uh, I'm sure they have a Whole Foods around there. I just don't know where it is in Stewart. But I really like Fresh Market, and they actually have, which is some of my favorite, is they have a pecan encrusted trout that you actually cook, but they've just encrusted it already. So that's pretty easy to make. You just pop it in the oven or in the skillet because again, I don't really need oil or anything because it's such a good skillet that I have, saute pan, skillet, whatever you want to call it. Um, so might do that. I tend to be a little bit lazy, and I do buy the fresh vegetables in Publix that are already in the bag that you just pop in the microwave for 2 minutes, and there I have my vegetable and my fit and my protein. Um, Again, the thing with chicken is I don't want to have to buy all the seasonings. Sometimes they have some uh, already made up with seasoning. I'd have to look at what the seasonings are because my wife isn't too fond of pepper. So if there's a lot of pepper on it, it upsets her stomach. And there's nothing worse than having to be in the bathroom while you're on vacation. So, I don't want to do that to her. So we kind of stick to just stuff that you could just put a little salt and possibly, one little shake of pepper. Um, I'll buy a lemon and stuff for the seafood. That's not a big deal. A lemon or two. That's not excessive. Whatever I don't use on the fish, I'll just throw in my water. So it's not like that's going to be a waste or anything like that. So uh, there you have my vacation plans. Still, again, I'm planning on taking my 7.5 on the Friday, bring some with, and don't know if I'm going to take it Saturday or Sunday when we go home. Depends again on what our plans are, but I'm going to have it with us so that I could do that. So it may be what is that? 8, it may be 9 days between shots. And there's always the idea if our friends are coming down on that Saturday, we are going out and we've done our shot on Friday, I don't know, maybe Thursday or Friday, we could take a partial dose. And then when we come back on Sunday, take the full dose. Lots of possibilities. I'm going to bring it with. Again, let me know in the comments what you do on vacation. Like I said, right now the plan is take our regular shot just a day early and bring it with us and go from there. Sometimes there's been times that we're by Saturday, had enough of this, miss my cat. Let's go home on Saturday. And if we do that, then our shot day will be back on Saturday again. Uh, Depends on the weather too, and like I said, depends on what days our friends are free. So there you have it. That's what I'm gonna do on vacation. I have the little icy things. I'll probably bring the soft, uh, little travel bag for the medication, probably bring, uh, 1 vial, probably 4 syringes and maybe 6. Like I said, just in case we decide to split it up and have an extra 1 or 2 in case we drop a syringe or something like that. So that's the plan now. Let me know in the comments what you do. Let me know what you think of my plan. Uh, because, like I said, I am going to take the shot. It's just a matter of what day, how much, because I don't like to be without shot period. Like I said, one time, last time when we did this for and we only did it, I think, for 9 days that time, we took a smaller dose. We both took five, and we were munching too much. That, that wasn't good. Now, granted, every time that we have gone away like that, within a week to 10 days, we've lost whatever weight we put on because, if we gain 5 pounds, there's no way that we've eaten an extra 15,000 calories in that week. So, we know it's just being away, water, inflammation again, and so forth. So that's really not the problem. There's just, I don't want to go back to that feeling. Like there were days that before the medication that I used to eat so much that kind of like that Thanksgiving Day. Oh, I'm so full. Oh, and I'm going to go to bed with so full. Then you add to it the slower digestion, and that's just not what I want. So that's kind of wrapping it up for this live. Anybody else have any comments, anything they want to say before we sign off? Again, always feel free to put it in the comments and enjoy the rest of your week.